What's going on, guys? I'm Kevin from Wrestling Review Society here with another belt review for you guys today. This is a belt I've had for a while, and I don't see very many of them. And to be completely honest, I almost forgot about this belt until I had it, and what a great belt it is. I like doing this little dramatic reveal, and, you know, unless you can read the title down below this, you're not really going to know what belt I'm going to review, but I'm sure you all have already read it. You know what belt it is, but today we're going to be reviewing the JCW Championship belt. Now, a little disclaimer, this is a bootleg version of the belt. And once again, for those of you who don't know what a bootleg is, it's a unlicensed copy. So, JCW was founded by the band ICP. And through their own admission, it was very heavily inspired by ECW. They wanted to take the product that was on TV, modify it, tweak it, and present it in their own way. Sound a little familiar? But anyway, they had some really cool looking championship belts. And like I said, it wasn't until I actually held this one where I realized just how nice it actually was. So we're going to go ahead and get right on into this review. And then I have one little story that I really enjoy about this belt. But in 3, 2, 1, there she is, guys. Absolutely beautiful. This belt is triple stacked 4mm zinc dual plated. Now, I know we're starting this channel with a lot of new belt collectors, and a lot of you don't know what those terms are. So, dual plated. You have gold and silver on the plate, on the main plate. Now, the paint, that doesn't count as being dual plated. That's just paint. But the actual color of the plates are both gold and silver, so dual plated. 4mm zinc, that's how thick the plates are on the belt. And triple stacked means, if you can see right there, you have your original plate, which is the really big one, and then the saw blade with the black background, that's another plate, and then the little hatchet man, that is a third plate. So triple stacked 4mm zinc. Now, I've gotten belts from this maker before, but this is by far the best leather strap I've ever got from them. Super soft, very floppy, supports the weight of the plates. This is by far my favorite strap that I've gotten from this maker. So let's go and unsnap it and get a look at this entire belt. So, this belt has a total of 4 plates on it. You have 2 identical side plates, and then you have a property plate. So let's go ahead and give a look at the plates really quick. There's your first side plate, your main plate, your identical side plate, and then your property plate. Now, a couple things that I really like about this belt. Like I said, the strap is absolutely phenomenal. But right in here, so JCW stood for Juggalo Championship Wrestling. But on the belt, let's see if I can get it in here where you can see it. It says Juggalo Championship Wrestling. I always thought that was... I honestly don't know how I feel about it. It's their own brand. It's something that they wanted to do, so I can understand it. But as a traditional fan, just, you know, calling it shit wrestling. But then again, being a traditional fan, I guess I would agree that JCW is shit wrestling. In the traditional sense. As far as the overall production of it, it was very entertaining. And I really enjoyed it. So... starting over here on this side, once again, I told you guys what your male and your female snaps were. So coming over here to your male snaps, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8x2 male snaps, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your traditional 5x2 female. The tooling in the snap box, it's got some pretty deep tooling to it. Almost looks like it was machine pressed. Could be a little bit deeper. You know, when you start to get away, you start to lose it. And the snap box is one of the areas that I really fall in love with. I really love a good snap box with deep tooling into it, whether it be the gravel texture, the nugget texture, it doesn't matter. I just really like that hand-tooled snap box. This belt does not have a gold or silver tip on it. Personally, I believe that every belt should have that tip on it. It's just, it adds something to the belt that I think is very, very classy. But this one doesn't have it. Not a big deal. But my personal preference, I would like to see one on it. Another thing that I'm really big on is contrast. When you look at this main plate, even from back here, you can tell everything on that main plate. I like the black in the banner to make the words pop, the black in the background on this second plate to make the Hatchet Man pop, and then you have the black and the red and the axes on the top, along with the paint to really make all the wording stand out. This belt has very minimal stones in it, which makes it very easy to replace if anything ever pops out. You don't, it's not a lot of stones to keep up with. You have 10 stones altogether in this belt. Getting over onto this side, like I said, very identical to the other side. Just you have female snaps instead of male snaps. On the back of it, all the screws are held in very nicely. There are no splits in the seams. The backing is put on very, very well. I really wish it had a tip on this belt. That's going to be my biggest gripe. The leather just falls right over. You're not going to find that on a WWE shop strap. Now, I do have one issue with this belt, but it's not necessarily with the belt, as it was with the maker being irresponsible and rushing. So, on the edges of this main plate, it's barbed wire. And when you get to this side, and I noticed this as soon as I got the belt. It's been like this since day one. Happened during shipping. But you have those cut marks from where the barbed wire dug into the strap. What should have happened was he should have put like a piece of foam or some bubble wrap or whatever the case may be right in here to stop the plate from rubbing up against the belt. Or rubbing up against the strap. Aside from that, and there not being a tip on it, I really don't have a bad thing to say about this belt. I've gotten several belts from this maker, and my wife, who's not a really big fan of wrestling belts, she likes some, but she's not really a big fan of them like I am and like all of you are. She took one look at this belt and said it was the favorite belt that this particular maker had ever sent us. I love this freaking belt. Looks very good over the shoulder. And like I said, the leather just falls right into place. I got this trick from my buddy Steven Hammer. He always throws the belt over his shoulder and lets people see how it lays across them. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this belt or not. I put it up for sale not too long ago. I'm happy nobody bought it, but if anybody made the right deal, or if anybody threw out the right deal, I'd probably jump on it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This belt itself, very simple. Like I said, 3 plates. I mean, you have your property plate, but I really don't count that as a plate. It's very small, but so yes, it is a plate. But as far as the belt itself goes, 3 plates. The side plates are identical. I love the Juggalo Championship Wrestling. Very legible writing. You have the clamshell tooling all the way around it, leading up to the snap boxes. The tooling is very deep in the clamshells. The etching is very, very nice. Like, you can rub your finger across this and feel the chain link pattern. Just an absolutely gorgeous belt. Love this belt. Love the floppy strap. Like I said, this is probably the best strap he's ever put on a belt for me. But guys, not going to be a super long video. Not very much to cover with this one. But I do have one story to tell about this belt that I think is really, really awesome. And I don't think any other company can say this. When WCW was on air, ICP and Vampiro walked out to the ring with this belt. And they were told to get heat. They weren't told what to say. They weren't told, what direction to go. They were just told, hey, go get some heat. And I interviewed Vampiro on my podcast, and he kind of told this story that they really wanted to establish JCW as a main player, or as one of the big players. So they basically walked out into the middle of the ring with this belt. ICP was banned from MTV and under investigation by the FBI at the time. And they were not allowed to wear their brand on television. But they did it anyway. And basically they walked out in the middle of the ring and they looked at the champion at the time and said, your belt don't mean shit. This one does. And when you look at the time that had happened, we had Vince Russo as champion, David Arquette as champion. We literally had a WCW show where all the champions were stripped. You had Jeff Jarrett laying down for Hogan and then them putting the belt on somebody else, even though Hogan left with the belt. So the belt, the big gold, as much as we love it, had really been trampled on during that time. And that was one of the big reasons why they said, look, your belt doesn't mean shit. This one does. So it really represents a time in wrestling, and I'll go ahead and make the comparison almost like what AEW is doing now. Granted, they were way less budgeted than AEW. They didn't have a major TV deal like AEW did, but the principle and the reason for doing what they did were the one and the same. They saw the current product, they saw problems with the product, and they thought they could do it better. And that's exactly what they tried to do. AEW is clearly way more successful than JCW is/was. But this belt really represented a time where, the same time that we have today in wrestling. If you think something's broken, go fix it. And whether you agree or disagree with what JCW did at the time, the comparison can be made that they tried to do what AEW is doing right now. But not going to be a super long belt review, guys. Like I said, this is the JCW Championship. Absolutely love this belt. It's got a nice curve to it. Sits over the shoulder very nicely. Looks great up on the display stand. And like I said, this is a belt that not a lot of people have. A lot of people kind of forgot about it. I was guilty of that too until I saw it. And then I just had to have it. But it's a very unique piece. I'm glad I have it in the collection. And so that's going to be it for this belt review, guys. Very simple belt. Make sure you guys are liking, commenting, and subscribing. We have belt giveaways here on this YouTube channel every 500 members. So we just had one for 1,500. We're having another one at 2,000, another one at 2,500, and then another one at 3,000. After 3,000, it will go to every 1,000 members. Make sure you go to storefrontier.com/Wrestling Review Society. Check out some of our amazing merch. We just released a new shirt, hoodie. You can get it in just about any garment you want. Long sleeve, short sleeve, does not matter. And they just added beer koozies to it. So go to storefrontier.com/Wrestling Review Society and check out all of our amazing merch. And make sure you hit that bell to stay notified so you get notifications every time we upload a new interview, upload a new belt review, and every time we go live on this channel. With that being said, thank you for everybody who is subscribed. And thank you for everybody who's about to subscribe. Just hit that little button. With that being said, guys, that'll do it for this one. And I'll see you guys on the next one.